Have you ever been in a relationship where something just felt off? Maybe you constantly overthink your partner's behavior, or small arguments turn into silent treatments. But is it just a rough patch, or are these warning signs that the relationship won't last? Studies show that nearly 50% of relationships fail within the first 2 years. But what if you could spot the red flags early and decide whether to fix things or walk away? Today, we're breaking down 12 early signs a relationship won't last, and most importantly, what you can do about it before it's too late. Sign number one, no future planning. Have you ever asked your partner about the future only to get a vague answer or a quick subject change? Maybe you say, "Where do you see us in 5 years?" And they reply with something like, "Let's not think too far ahead." Sounds familiar? According to Dr. John Gottman, one of the world's leading relationship experts, healthy couples don't just live in the moment, they openly discuss their future. If your partner consistently avoids these conversations, it could be a sign that they're unsure about long-term commitment. Instead of putting them on the spot, try a more relaxed approach. Ask something simple like, "What's one thing you'd love for us to do together next year?" Their response, or lack of one, will tell you a lot. Sign number two, frequent defensiveness. Imagine this. You bring up something that hurt you, like, "Hey, I felt disappointed when you canceled our dinner plans." But instead of acknowledging your feelings, your partner fires back. "You're always overreacting." Suddenly, the conversation turns into a battle instead of a solution. Sound familiar? According to Dr. Sue Johnson, a leading expert in emotional attachment, defensiveness is a key predictor of relationship breakdown. Like, it shuts down open communication, builds resentment, and creates emotional distance. Here's a simple shift that works. Instead of saying, "You never listen to me," try, "I feel unheard when this happens. Can we talk about it?" This removes blame and encourages a real conversation instead of a conflict. Sign number three, avoiding conflict. Do you or your partner steer clear of tough conversations just to keep the peace? It might seem like the easy way out, but over time, those unspoken feelings build up, like a shaken soda can waiting to burst. Studies show that avoiding conflict doesn't make problems disappear, it makes resentment grow. And when that resentment piles up, breakups can feel sudden, but in reality, they've been brewing for a long time. Healthy couples don't ignore problems, they face them head on. Instead of placing blame, try a soft startup. Swap accusations for openness, like saying, "I've been feeling distant lately. Can we talk about it?" This simple shift lowers defensiveness and creates space for real, honest conversation. Sign number four, emotional detachment. Remember the early days of your relationship? When conversations felt endless and you could share your wildest dreams and deepest fears without hesitation? But now, it feels like there's a wall between you. Silence has replaced connection. According to Dr. Gary Chapman, author of The 5 Love Languages, emotional detachment happens when partners stop filling each other's emotional needs. Over time, this distance can turn into indifference. Bringing back emotional closeness doesn't always require grand gestures. Start small. Ask open-ended questions like, "What's something on your mind lately?" Or, "When do you feel most loved?" These moments of genuine curiosity can rebuild the connection, one conversation at a time. Sign number five, mismatched core values. Picture this. You love a simple, minimal lifestyle, but your partner dreams of a life filled with luxury and extravagance. At first, it might not seem like a big deal, but over time, these differences can create serious tension. So, can love alone bridge the gap? Research shows that shared values matter more than shared interests when it comes to long-term relationships. If you and your partner have conflicting views on finances, family, or life goals, disagreements are almost inevitable. The key is to talk about these differences early on. Ask your partner, "How do we find common ground?" If there's room for compromise, great. But if your core beliefs are completely at odds, it might be a sign that the relationship isn't built to last. Sign number six, lack of effort. Ever feel like you're the only one keeping the relationship alive? Always the one texting first, making plans, or checking in? It's exhausting, isn't it? Dr. Terry Orbuch, a relationship psychologist, found that consistent small efforts, like a thoughtful message or a simple "How was your day?" matter more than grand romantic gestures. A relationship is a two-way street. When only one person does the heavy lifting, sooner or later it breaks down. If you're always the one making the effort, pause for a moment, step back and see if your partner steps forward. If they don't, start a conversation. "I feel like I'm putting in more effort. Can we find a better balance?" If nothing changes, it might be time to ask yourself, is this relationship truly equal? Sign number 7, lack of respect. Oh, come on, I was just kidding. Ever heard that after a hurtful comment? Sure, playful teasing can be fun, but when jokes start feeling like subtle insults, it's not just humor, it's disrespect. Dr. John Gottman, a leading relationship psychologist, found that contempt, things like sarcasm, eye-rolling, and mocking, is the #1 predictor of breakups. Why? Because respect is the foundation of love. The moment it crumbles, the relationship follows. Next time it happens, calmly call it out. I know you meant it as a joke, but it actually hurt me. Can we talk about it? If they listen and adjust, that's a good sign. But if they dismiss your feelings or do it again, that's a red flag you can't ignore. Sign number 8, insecurity and jealousy. A little jealousy is natural. It shows you care. But when it turns into checking your partner's phone, constantly asking where they are or accusing them without reason, it stops being love and starts becoming control. According to Dr. Amir Levine, author of Attached, insecure attachment styles often lead to jealousy and controlling behavior. These patterns usually come from past experiences, like being betrayed or abandoned. But when left unchecked, they can suffocate a relationship. If you or your partner struggle with jealousy, don't ignore it. Talk about it. Try saying, I know my insecurities come from past experiences, not you. Can we work together to build more trust? The key is honest communication, not control. Sign number 9, one-sided compromises. Compromise is key in any relationship, but what if one person is always the one bending while the other never budges? Over time, that imbalance can take a serious toll. According to relationship expert Dr. Stan Tatkin, this is called the giver burnout effect, when one person constantly sacrifices their own needs just to keep the peace. At first, it might seem like love, but eventually it leads to frustration, emotional exhaustion, and even resentment. Take a moment to ask yourself, am I being heard and valued, or am I the only one adjusting? If the answer leans one way, it's time for an honest conversation. Try saying, I love making this work, but I also need to feel supported. How can we create a better balance? A healthy relationship thrives on mutual effort, not just one person carrying the weight. Sign number 10, low emotional intelligence. Have you ever opened up about your feelings, only to hear something like, you're overreacting, or I don't see the problem? Frustrating, isn't it? Emotional intelligence, or EQ, is a person's ability to recognize, understand, and respond to emotions, both their own and their partners. According to psychologists, low EQ can make meaningful emotional conversations feel impossible, leading to misunderstandings and distance in a relationship. Instead of arguing, try rephrasing your concerns. When you say that, I feel unheard. Can we talk about it differently? If your partner is willing to listen and grow, great. But if they continue dismissing your feelings, the emotional disconnect may only deepen over time. Sign number 11, boredom and loss of excitement. Remember those early days when even a simple text from your partner made your heart race? Over time, it's normal for that initial spark to fade. But if your relationship has become more of a predictable routine than a real connection, it could be a warning sign. According to Dr. Helen Fisher, a biological anthropologist, novelty and excitement trigger dopamine, the same brain chemical responsible for feelings of love and attraction. When couples stop exploring new experiences together, boredom creeps in and emotional distance follows. The good news? You can reignite the spark. Try something different, plan a spontaneous trip, learn a new skill together, or even switch up your usual date nights. The brain thrives on novelty, and so does your relationship. Sign number 12, trust issues. Trust is the foundation of any strong relationship. Without it, everything else starts to crumble. Imagine trust as a delicate glass. Once cracked, it may never look the same again. If you find yourself constantly questioning your partner's honesty or feeling uneasy about their actions, it's a sign that trust has been damaged. But the real question is, can it be repaired? Dr. Brené Brown, an expert on vulnerability and relationships, explains that trust isn't built through grand gestures. It's established through small, consistent actions over time. When trust is broken, it creates emotional distance, making true intimacy almost impossible. Rebuilding trust requires patience, transparency, and follow-through. If trust has been damaged, have open and honest conversations about what needs to change. Actions speak louder than words, so consistency is key. But if doubts and insecurities linger despite efforts to rebuild, it may be a sign that the relationship is no longer healthy. Now that we've covered all 12 early signs, let's talk about what to do next. No relationship is perfect. Every couple goes through ups and downs, but if you're noticing multiple signs from this list, it's time to pause and ask yourself, is this relationship truly making me happy and emotionally healthy? If you've spotted one or two of these signs, don't panic. Most issues can be fixed with open communication and effort. But if 5 or more signs sound familiar, that's a major red flag. It might be time to reevaluate where things are headed. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these signs have you noticed in past or current relationships? Drop a comment below. I'd love to know your thoughts. And if this video helped you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more psychology-backed insights on love, relationships, and the human mind. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.